Hello everyone. In this session we are going to understand the concept of protected access. So far we have seen the public access, default access and private access in the previous sessions. Let's revise it quickly. If we specify a field or a method as public access, then it can be accessed everywhere in the project, in the class, in the package, and everywhere in the project. If we define it as a default access, like if we do not specify any access specifier, then by default access is in the same package and in the same class only. So if you try to access such a field or a method outside of the package, it is not allowed. And private is strictly private to the same class. You cannot access it anywhere outside of the class. Okay. Now protected access works very similar to the default access as long as we use it inside the same package. As long as we use it inside the same package, protected is very similar to the default access. But things start to change when we try to access protected outside of the package. Anywhere else in the project, if we try to access a protected field, then it acts as a default access specifier in the normal case, but in case of inheritance it is allowed to use. What I mean to say by that is, inside a class, when we create a protected field or a protected method, then it can be accessed outside of the package as well if we inherit from the class. If we inherit from the class, let us understand this concept by an example. Let's go to Eclipse and let's create a class. Let's call it as cars, and inside the cars class I'm going to create two fields. Simple. One field is protected, so protected string, and that is the make of the car, and second is the string model of the car. So one is the protected and one is a default access. Now we are going to create an other class in the same package, and let's call it as German cars, and let us say that German cars extends cars. There is a relationship. German cars also is cars. So in the German cars, now as we have cars as the super class, whatever is defined in the super class is readily available. So let's create a method and try to use the fields that are defined in the super class. Let's create a public method, something like public void set car details. Just a sample method, and I'm going to access the fields from the cars class, that is the parent, and something like make is equal to, say, BMW, and model X6. Okay, so make is BMW, model is X6. So both make and model fields from the cars class can be accessed over here in the German cars class, okay, because we are in the same package. So protected field and the default field, they kind of act as same as long as we are in the same package. Okay, just to give you one example, let's create a private field here, private, and the year. So let me call it as int and year, and let's try to set the value for year over here, and it will not allow. Year is equal to, say, 2018, and see, it will say that the field is not visible. So even though we are inheriting the year field, which is a private, it's strictly private to cars class and it is not allowed to use. Okay, but the protected field make and the default field model, they can be accessed because we are in the same package, and we already know that default field can be accessed in the same package, and now we know that a protected field can be accessed in the same package. So for now, let me comment this year here, and let's create another class outside of the package inheritance. The cars class and the German cars class, they both are currently inside the inheritance package. Now let's go to some other package. Let's go to temp and create another class, and let's call it as Japanese cars. And let us say that Japanese cars also extends cars. And as we are inside a new package, we need to import the cars. So just import cars from inheritance. Now Japanese cars is a subclass, cars is a superclass. So whatever is there with the superclass is readily available or should be readily available for the Japanese cars class, right? So let's try to create a similar method that we have created in the German cars, is to set car details, and let us see what fields we can use, what fields we cannot use. So there is no question about year because it's a private field, it cannot be used, that's fine. But now you see the error starts to occur for the model as well. Let's go back and check what is model. Model is a default field, and default field has access restricted only in the package level. So if you try to go outside of the inheritance package, it is saying that it is not visible. The field is not visible. But the important thing is to note make is still allowed. We are still able to use access the field make inside of the Japanese cars class because it is defined as protected. So what do we understand is when we create a field or a method as protected, it can be accessed in the same class, in the same package, and in the classes of outside of the package as well when you inherit from it. If you do not inherit, then you cannot use it. But when you inherit, then it can be used. It is visible for the classes which inherit from your class. And that is why there is no compilation error and we are able to access the field make, which is a protected field created inside cars class. So let's go back to the chart again. Public can be accessed everywhere. Default can be accessed in the same class, in the same package. Private can be accessed only in the same class, and protected can be accessed in the same class, same package, with and without inheritance. There is no condition. But when you try to jump outside of the package, then it can be accessed only when we inherit from the class where it is defined. And if you do not inherit, then it is not allowed to access. It acts as the default access specifier in that case. Okay, thank you so much for watching this session, and I'll talk to you on the concepts of abstraction and interfaces in the upcoming